Good morning and welcome to the Treehouse. This is Kag with the View from Above Tarot reading for Monday, September 16th. So I hope that your weekend went well and you're ready to get back to work this morning, if that is what your schedule looks like. I did deeply shuffle prior to this reading, but we'll do the last little bit of shuffling before I lay out our cards this morning. And we're going to do a 9+1 here on Monday and look at the energy that's currently in place, what the challenge for the day is, and the wisdom. So here is our present energy with its clarifiers. This is our challenge for today and its clarifiers. And finally, the wisdom for today with its clarifiers and the Merryweather card. And if you're new to my channel, the Merryweather card is actually a term that refers to the bottom of the deck. Merryweather was a character in the 1960s version of Sleeping Beauty. That was a movie that I loved very much as a child. And Merryweather is the one who comes in and puts a blessing on the bad news after Maleficent says, oh yeah, the princess is going to die. So I often think of the card at the bottom of the deck as the Merryweather card that just gives us a little more information, a blessing perhaps, or a warning, but it is a little comment on the reading that helps us maybe to understand it a little bit more. This is a collective reading, so if the information resonates for you, take what does and leave the rest. And if you have a question in mind, bring it up. Chances are pretty good that there will be at least one of these ranks that will be of some use to you. So let's get started with the energy this morning, which is the Ace of Pentacles. And so this is an opportunity for us to do a new project, a new thing. We are currently in the garden here and thinking about whether we actually want to take this gift from the holy, this opportunity. I want just to call out the fact that this is the one pentacle that has an inner circle. There are two circles around this pentacle. The rest of them just have one. And traditionally, it means that there is going to be effort involved in getting to that pentacle. And so you have the choice whether to take it or not. But you'll have to walk through that gate, down the path, and up the mountain of the highest potential. So perhaps there is an opportunity that you are looking at on this Monday morning and evaluating whether it is something you wish to pursue. The challenge for today is the moon, which is in the major arcana. The moon is a card of sort of hidden information, or you can't really see everything clearly because the moon does not have its own light. The moon is a reflection of the light of the sun. And so it's difficult for us to see in the dark exactly what's going on. And so these two wolves here, if you will, are howling at the moon, which can be very frightening. And so little crayfish here is in the water. He's going to have to go down that path and up those mountains. And so it's interesting that we are looking at the mountains of your highest potential in both the opportunity and the fact that you can't see clearly how this is going to happen. I will call your attention to those two towers on either side. And when we make decisions from a place of fear or not knowing everything, frequently we will construct some kind of structure in order to get through that emotion that will eventually have to come down. So this is the challenge, is to what do we do when we can't really see clearly the path that we want to go? And so that's an interesting comment on taking this opportunity. So let's look at the wisdom here, and that is the devil. The devil is a card of being trapped, of thinking you have no options. You can see these two people have the chains around their neck, but they're not tight. They could take them up if they want to. So this is thinking that is really impoverishing the way that we want to look at this opportunity. First of all, we've got an opportunity. There's something we don't see clearly, which is the challenge. And the wisdom is you may have some trapped thinking about this. So we'll look at the clarifiers and see if we can get a little more information. So for our Ace of Pentacles, the clarifier is the Seven of Wands and the Queen of Wands. The Wands is the energy of will and determination and inspiration and energy, and it is that jolt that we need to get things started. The Seven of Wands in particular is being able to defend yourself at a moment's notice. You can notice he's wearing two different shoes here. It's like he just got out of bed, grabbed his wand. Okay, I am ready to defend myself. So this is knowing who you are. This is being confident about being able to tolerate any criticism coming from other people. This is knowing exactly what you want to do going forward. So that is an excellent card for this new opportunity. You do know what you want to do. You do have some resources available to you to defend yourself and to sort of deflect any criticism coming your way. We are also clarified by the Queen of Wands, which is the card of the most confident queen. She has the power of the sun here in her sunflower. She also has her cat. She has resources at her command, at least as far as the energy and the ability to get things done. So she is a very powerful ally as we think about this opportunity that we're looking at. So there's something that is giving us some pause. That's the challenge. We're a little bit afraid about what it is that's being offered to us here. And that fear is being offset by the Magician and the King of Swords, both excellent cards. The Magician is the fellow who brings into manifestation that which is above. So his mantra is, as above, so below, as within, so without. So he has all of the resources on his magical table here. He has all of the energies of the blooded rose, which is physical resources, as well as the non-physical resources of the white lilies. He is able to bring things into reality. He also, on his downside, can be a little bit of a control freak. And so if you are a bit of a control freak, this is going to make you even a little more freaky because there are things you aren't going to know about this. The King of Swords is a great resource for being afraid because he is the guy who can see both sides of an issue quite clearly. So he's got his sword up there. He's got the two birds in the sky. He is the king of logic and clarity that he can bring into whatever this fear is. So it would seem wisdom-wise that what we've got is some stuck thinking, that we don't have any options, we can't do anything about this fear, we don't want to do this, maybe. And let's clarify. So the Nine of Swords is the middle of the night worry. This is the card of waking up and really not knowing what you did, maybe regretting what you decided to do. So it would seem that this card is telling us that perhaps this isn't the best thing to take on at this time. We want to look at the King of Cups here. Now we've got three major arcana, we have three court cards here. And these are all parts of us. And the King of Cups is the HR manager. Think about the court cards. He's the guy that when he is in a good place, thinks about the emotional health of himself as well as his people and the emotional health of his land. So kings are in charge of peoples and lands. But they also need to be well balanced in their own energy. The King of Cups on his downside tends to be a people pleaser, that he rejects what is necessary for himself and just goes about telling everybody what they want to hear. Now, my sense of this is that the challenge of not knowing would put us in a position of thinking we don't have a lot of choices and that we have to make everybody else happy, which is only going to make us worry. So when I look at what we have here at the present, we've got the confidence of the Queen of Wands. We've got the ability to know our own mind going into this project. But the challenge is going to be to harness the fear the over control and be able to look at this from two different sides. If we can't do this, if we allow the fear to kind of run roughshod over us, we are going to get into that place of trapped thinking that will cause us to be regretful about what we do, especially if it is that we are going to be trying to please everybody. This card is not worried about pleasing everybody. This card is not worried about pleasing everybody. These cards are worried about ourselves. And this is that ability to see both sides. Yes, there are things we aren't going to know. And yes, we're going to go ahead and do this. This is over control or control, right? In its positive way, it is we can control the situation as best we can by knowing both sides. The wisdom here is if you let the fear rule you, if that challenge is not taken on, this is probably what is going to happen to us. So you're really at a crossroads here of deciding whether you want to go ahead, but it's going to require that you take on the mantle of the Queen of Wands and the Seven of Wands with the wisdom of the King of Swords and the control features. He can be a bit of a trickster, but he also has the mastery over all of the suits to go forward. So that is our key card here. If you can control needing to know everything on the outset, you probably be fine. If you think you need to know everything, this is going to be our result here. So before I turn to the Merryweather card, let's look at what we have. We have one pentacle, which is the gigantic ace. That is our resources. And we have the swords of clarity and logic. We have the wands of the inspiration and determination and will. We have the cups here of emotional well-being if we choose to not people please. I did not call this sword out, so we've got two swords, one pentacle, two wands, two swords, a cup, and three major arcana. So let's look at Merryweather, and Merryweather says the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a fellow sitting under a tree with his arms crossed, his legs crossed. He's folded up like a fan, and he's looking at these three cups that have apparently been disappointing to him. What he does not see is this blessing from the holy that's being offered to him in the form of the Ace of Cups. While the Four of Cups is stability, it can also be stagnation as you're sitting there thinking you have nothing else that you can do, which is directly related to our Devil card here. He only needs to look up to see this blessing of the Ace of Cups, which pairs nicely with this ace down here. So I would say that we need to take a pause in this moment and really consider what it is that we're afraid of before we're moving ahead. And to remember that this is a great opportunity, although it is going to take work. There are blessings here that we haven't even recognized in moving forward. So as one of the other readers that I follow say, there is free will here, right? You don't have to take this challenge if you don't want to. It may look like a good thing, but if the fear is really what is driving your decision, it's probably going to be a disappointment of some kind at some further point down the road. So if you can master the desire to people please, to think you have no options, and to be overly anxiety ridden about this, then it's probably okay to go ahead. But perhaps this reading would say we need a little more time to consider it. And there's no rush here to make a decision. There's no movement cards that would say we have to decide right now. So hopefully on this Monday morning, this reading was helpful. And if it was, please like, share, and subscribe. And I invite you to join me again tomorrow for another reading here at the Treehouse, and we'll take another view from above. Blessings.